Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, and play video series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I guess I'm trying these again. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm in my back room today, which means we get boom, beer can Thunderbolt poster behind me. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I am doing something else. What is it? Well, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, though? Happens to be my defamation of character shirt. But what is defamation of character besides like a quasi-legal term? Defamation of character is sort of a hardcore / early nu metal band from Detroit. They actually had a pretty good run, almost 10 years, put out a couple albums. I'd never heard of them during their heyday, but I became aware of them sometime last year in 2024. I went over there, I was recommended their Facebook page because these are the type of bands that I follow. And it turned out that somebody was still monitoring the page. So I went over there and got in touch with them, asked if they had any leftover merch. And sure enough, they had some CDs and even a shirt left over. So, yay, super cool shirt. I love it. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Well, like I said, I guess I'm trying these again. I did review these a while ago, but given certain circumstances, feels appropriate to review them again. But what are they? They're the Pepsi Nitro flavors. Specifically, we got Pepsi Nitro Draft Cola and Pepsi Nitro Vanilla Draft Cola. Ooh. Let's get a thing for the thing on this. We'll kind of like get in there. Ha 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 ha! But why am I reviewing these again? Because supposedly they're soon to be discontinued. So yeah, I reviewed these when they first came out a few years ago, and I'll be entirely honest, I wasn't really all that into them. I didn't really get the appeal, but one of my coworkers is actually a really big fan, and he and I were talking about it, and yeah, it turns out that I guess they're supposed to be discontinued sometime in 2025. At the time I'm doing this, we're in January of 2025. They're still on shelves at the moment, and who knows, they might end up, opting to keep it on for a while longer, but yeah, so what the hell, I figured might as well get them in before they're gone. Let's try out the normal one first. And yeah, like the whole kitsch of these is that they're nitrogen-infused cola, so instead of that normal carbonation, and I remember these being like, it's like a smoother drink, which I guess maybe that's why my one coworker likes it, but let's give it a go. Yeah. I'm just not into the nitro stuff. I don't like the way that it changes the flavor of everything. I can see why some people would like it, and I mean, I guess if it were something where I didn't have like the quote unquote like the normal version to compare it to, like a normal Pepsi, I might be more forgiving of it because I wouldn't, have that direct side by side. But the problem is I do, and then it's like there's very little about this that emulates what I like in a Pepsi. I like the Pepsi, even though Pepsi's a sweeter cola, I like, it has a little bit of harshness to it. It's got that bite from the carbonation. With the nitrogen, it's very, like, creamy, almost. It has a very smooth flavor. And, maybe for some people that's the thing. I should go over there and buy one of these for my friend Joe. Yeah. Because he doesn't like carbonated drinks, really. But he might be into these. But let me go in again. See, to me, and it almost tastes, without, that normal carbonation level, it almost just feels flat. The flavor isn't exactly flat, like it doesn't, because flat soda is just absolute garbage. It doesn't taste that bad. It does have some of that Pepsi vibe to it, but yeah, man, I don't know. I've never, even when I try like the Monster did it too, and I tried the Monster Nitro stuff. I don't know, man. It's just not my bag. To me, it just tastes less rewarding. Like again, like a nice cola, especially a Coke or a Pepsi or hell, an RC. Man, those taste nice and special. Like and they feel like you're treating yourself a little bit. With the Nitro, I don't feel that way. You know, it's not a bad experience, but like again, it feels like a diminished experience to me. But let's try the vanilla one. It smells like a vanilla Pepsi. Yeah. No. I'll say this: it carries the vanilla flavor nicely. Uh, so it has that going for it, and because it has the creaminess, it almost reminds me a little bit of like a sort of like a melted vanilla milkshake, a little bit. But obviously with a little bit of a cola kind of bite backing it. Yeah, I mean it's very much the same thing. The cola aspect really, I don't want to say the flavor gets diminished, but like again, it just loses a lot of dimension to me. And I don't know. The vanilla I do think helps. I think if I had to choose between one or the other, if for whatever reason, I would probably choose the vanilla over the normal because I think the vanilla and the nitro and all that, I think it vibes a little bit better in my head. And again, I can kind of go, give it sort of a vanilla milkshake vibe. Um, but yeah, to me, like just that sensation, like there's like no resistance when you go to drink it. And for me, my brain associates that with flat soda. So I don't know, man. Like I said, some people really dig it. Apparently, not enough people to keep it on the shelves, but this is just one of those things that it was never for me, you know. And with all that said, though, excuse me, three questions have to be asked. If I could, would I get him again? If you can, should you get him? And am I going to be sad to see him go? No, sure, kinda. Ooh, that nitrogen. Just because it's not the same carbonation doesn't give you a little bit of gas. Uh for me personally, like I said, I don't get the nitro thing. It doesn't, because to me it doesn't really encapsulate what I want out of a soda. I want that bite. I want there to be some resistance when I'm drinking it, and it's just I don't know. I don't like what it does with the flavors, and again, for me, it feels like a very unrewarding thing to drink. Probably again because my brain just sort of thinks that I'm drinking flat soda. The flavors, for what they aren't awful or anything, but yeah, it's not my vibe. And going into that third question that I was talking about, will I be sad to see him gone? Kinda. They're not for me, but like I'm glad that they're for other people. And I'm really happy that if nothing else, we have greater variety available to us. And when we lose some of that variety, even though most likely it'll be replaced somewhere along the way, at the end of the day, someone is losing out. I'm sure there's lots of people who weren't that into, Coke Black or Coke with coffee, as it would later come to be named. But I loved that stuff, man. I downed that stuff way more than I should have because of how much I loved it. And when it went away, it sucked ass for me. But even though this won't, because it's not going to affect me, because realistically I would never buy it again, maybe if it made a return. Now, all that said, if I'm recommending it for anybody else, I would still recommend it in terms of, especially if you haven't had it yet, get it while it's available. Like I said, at the time I'm doing this, we're January of 2025. It's still on the shelves. So if you want to go out and try to find some, you probably can do so. I think they're about $1.25 a can, so that ain't bad. Or you can get the 4-packs. So they are still available. And, they might work for you, they might not. Kind of depends on what sort of soda drinker you are. But anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there themselves a truly nitro-tastic rest of your life. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time? I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, do you have a favorite beverage that's been discontinued? I mean, I would think that almost anybody would, because of course, things just come and go. That's just the nature of stuff. And if we're fortunate, our favorite thing sticks around and we're able to enjoy it for a good long while. If we're not, sometimes it just passes us by. But hopefully, maybe it'll make a return in the future. Like I said, for me, Coke Black, always going to miss Coke Black. I hope they try again at some point, But they went over there and they brought back Snapple Elements, and that stuck around, and I'm still down in those things, so. But anyway,